Okay, good, thanks. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the invite to come present and talk a little bit about Weeper Basin and some of the projects that we are doing. I get a lot of questions about our project along 89 and the work that we are doing there as you go down into South Weber. I might just give a quick update there. We are currently have our water treatment plant shut down. We're just surviving currently on our wells right now. We're doing a big tie-in. We're actually tying in the 72-inch pipe into our facility up in Layton, our water treatment plant there. So there's huge piping going in right now. We're tying the 72-inch pipe into the 36-inch pipe that feeds the treatment plant, as well as into a 24-inch pipe that feeds the irrigation system there throughout Layton City, kind of eastern Layton City. And so currently we're just surviving on wells. And so hopefully you don't see any disruption in your drinking water supplies. Things are going quite well right now. So hopefully it continues. But really, that project is an earthquake resilient project. Our current aqueduct's an 84-inch aqueduct, comes out of, it's comes through a tunnel just on the south side of Weber Canyon, but it's a bell and spigot pipe, large 84-inch concrete pipe. If we were to have an earthquake, that pipe would roll down the hill with a lot of water in it, which would be bad for South Weber, through that area. And the fault line runs right through there as well. In fact, our aqueduct kind of stitched the fault line together because it was nice and flat, so they kind of stitched the fault line together there. So we're helping to keep that together with our Davis aqueduct right now. But if an earthquake were to happen, we would be in serious hurt. So this is a welded steel 72-inch pipe, 1 inch thick as it crosses the fault. Ton of welding is taking place, especially when you have a 1 inch thick pipe. But this pipe, even though the ground around it would be removed in an earthquake, this pipe would be standing. And then we have large movable joints where we tie into structures. And so those are huge pipes. And anyway, and then there's a huge pump station we're building there just off of the South Weber off ramp there. You can kind of see it going up. It's a kind of a brown building. So in the event, so through the tunnel, we have a 3.3-mile tunnel. We bring the water from east to west to the Wasatch Front. There's a structure up there that you can see. I've got a photo of that as well. But if that aqueduct were to collapse in an earthquake, if the tunnel were to collapse, that possibly could happen, then we would use this pump station, pump water out of the Davis and Weaver Canal, pump that up to our treatment plant, and then have drinking water for the residents here in Davis and Weber counties. So that pump station is just for emergency resilience, and we would only use it if we were to lose the tunnel. So a lot of money being spent for emergency preparedness. It's an $85 million project. It's the largest project we've ever let. So huge project, but we think that it'll definitely pay dividends, if we have a future earthquake in that area. So I'll probably breeze over some of this. Weaver Basin was created in 1950. We're kind of a large water purveyor in northern Utah. We provide both drinking water and raw water to our customers. That's the map that we service. We service 5 counties, about 750,000 residents currently in those counties. And those are the different water supplies that we have. We have 21 deep groundwater wells, soon to be 22. Well, actually, we're drilling number 23 as well. So 3 water treatment plants along the Wasatch Front. We have 1 on the Wasatch back. And then we have 3 hydroelectric power plants as well, where we generate our own power and help offset power costs to our customers. So those are a huge help. And then we have 7 major dams throughout the Weber and Ogden River basins. So just wanted to go over our storage really quick. You can see there, the black line is where we are currently. And then you got the red and the blue line. The red is last year, and then the blue is the average, 5-year average. So you can see we're doing quite well there. Pine View's up a little bit. Kazi, it obviously fills every year and spills, so that one maybe not as important. But Pine View is well above the 5-year average, which is great. Wanship and Echo, you can see there. Rockport Wanship is just above the 5-year average, and then lower where we were last year. And then Echo is doing well. We really operate these two reservoirs together. We hold water in Echo that should be in Rockport and vice versa. We try to keep water as high as we possibly can, as long as we possibly can. So we operate these two reservoirs together in conjunction with Weber River Water Users Association. So they own the water in Echo Reservoir. They have the early water right on the system. And then Lost Creek and East Canyon, these are our off-stream reservoirs. You can see they're still doing pretty well, better than our 5-year average on both of those. We feel like East Canyon likely will fill. Lost Creek probably will not fill this year, but unless it keeps snowing, which it's done pretty well lately. And then Willard Bay is doing quite well. You can see we're a little lower than last year, but quite much better than the 5-year average. And so Willard Bay is looking really good. This is our snowtail. You can see I looked this morning, we're about 102% of average for this time of year. And so, doing quite well. Not quite as well as we were last year at this time, but we're right about average. Our soil moisture's about 80%. So as far as runoff is concerned, we will have water runoff into the soil first before it fills our streams and rivers, since we're below that 100% level mark. But right now, I think I got a slide on that as well. There's the soil moisture. You can see that there and where that is in reference to the median. And then this is the runoff forecast. So right now, we're forecasted about 71%. Even though our snowpack's at 102, the runoff, because of soil moisture and where that's at, we'll receive about 71% of what the runoff, of 100% runoff. So not bad. Still looking pretty good. But as we have more storms here, that'll improve, which is great. So we hope that continues. And then these are the reservoirs that we operate and manage throughout the basin. And so most all of you are familiar with those reservoirs. So I'll talk about Stoddard. So this is our large diversion off of the Weber River. You can see the diversion there and then the big horseshoe. So what we try to do is we try to pull sediment out of the water as much as we can. So we slow the flows down around that horseshoe. And then we have a large, a long 7-mile canal, the Gateway Canal, that delivers that water to the east side of the Wasatch Front. And then we have a 3.3-mile tunnel, 9 foot in diameter, that water comes through the mountain to the west side, just above the Job Corps. And then it bifurcates at that point and goes north and south. That's just another photo of our diversion. So that's where we're diverting our water out of the Weber River for delivery to, our customers, 750,000 people. That's our bifurcation structure. We've got another large structure up there that we just recently built as part of this new project. But that's where the water comes into that structure, and then it bifurcates. It goes north into Ogden, a 48-inch pipe, and then it goes south into Davis County, that 84-inch pipe. And now we have a large new structure there where the 72-inch pipe is tied into this structure, and we can deliver water now to that large 72-inch pipe, which will be really nice and enable us to deliver those flows in an emergency. This is our water treatment plant in Layden. This is where our headquarters are located. But we can treat 46 million gallons per day there at that facility. Our treatment plants are quite a bit smaller than, say, Salt Lake County because of the large secondary water systems that we have in Weber and Davis counties. Salt Lake County does not have those secondary water systems, and so their treatment plants are much larger. But we're okay with that, having a little smaller on the treatment side. This is our water treatment plant in Bountiful, just below the Bountiful Temple. So it's on Davis Boulevard. We can treat 16 MGD at that facility. And then this is our facility in Ogden, just above Javier's, there above Harrison. So I know where Javier's is at because I like to eat lunch there. So I just reference always by eating establishments. So, but that'll treat 32 MGD at that facility. We're finishing a 5 million gallon new tank at that treatment plant. And then we're starting on another 5 million gallon tank and going to replace an older 4.3 million gallon tank that's lived its life cycle. So we'll go from we had another 1 million gallon tank that we just demoed as part of the new 5 million gallon tank. And so we'll have 10 million gallons of storage there when we're done from the 5.3. So that'll be great. We've been feeding the groundwater supplies quite well out of that 4.3 million gallon tank. So sorry, that's going to dry up here as we build our new tank, but it leaks quite a bit. That old tank does. Anyway, so it'll be nice to stop that leakage. Also, flood control. So Weber Basin, we manage flood control for this area, for the Weber and Ogden rivers. It's because, we were kind of the latecomer as far as water rights are concerned. So any water we release out of the reservoirs is Weber Basin's water. So we're in charge of how much water gets released, how it gets released, and we make those calls. And 2023 was a really difficult year because of all the snowpack we had. Great year as far as snowpack was concerned, but very nervous for the guys that are managing that flood control to ensure we stay below safe channel capacities in the rivers and streams below those dams. And so it's a real balancing act to ensure that we do that properly and try to minimize flooding as much as possible. Kind of talked about that. On the one project I did mention here a few months ago, I think at the Weaver Confluence, is the project of lining the Willard Canal. So that'll deliver 1,000 CFS currently, cubic feet per second. When we line this with concrete, it'll double the capacity of 2,000 CFS. And that'll be a huge help on the lower Weber as far as flooding on the lower Weber, and help us double our capacity that we can take out to Willard Bay, which will be really nice. We've been working on that project for about 15 years now, and we probably have another 10 years or so of lining projects still to complete on this canal. We can only take it down for so long. Usually October 1st to about January 1st is all the time we can take that canal down. We have to get it back up and operating so we can take winter flows. Anytime the canal's down, right, we can't take winter flows out to Willard Bay. So we try to just sandwich it in as quickly as we can and have a contractor work as quickly as they can. You can see it's a pretty large trapezoidal channel there that we have, and it's a large facility. This is the new diversion that we built out by Slaterville, just by 12th Street and the freeway. This diversion helps us take a lot more water to the Willard Canal than we previously could do so. You can see they got these big bar screens here. You can't, I'm sure you can imagine how much debris comes down the Weber River as it, scours that channel, big old massive trees and whatnot. So we try to keep directing those down the river as much as we can. We typically stick a long front out there and pull trees off of this bar rack. And that's just kind of a view coming across over to the diversion structure, just to show that. And anyway, it's a large structure that we have that enables us to divert water and really helps us, decrease the flows that we have towards the lower Weber. There's a lot of flooding issues there that we have when we have a lot of water on the system. This year probably will not have that problem. It'll probably be more of a typical year. So I would say, and so hopefully, that goes well. So uh, I think with that, maybe one more item is secondary water meters. I know everybody is in the throes of installing secondary water meters right now. We're doing the same thing, installing those as quick as we can, as fast as we can. Those ARPA monies dry up in the end of 2026. So we want to ensure that we have meters installed by then. There was a bill that just went through the legislature that requires secondary water companies to start having a tiered billing structure for the secondary water that runs through these meters. And so that's required in 2030 to bill for every gallon that goes through the meter. And so it's going to be a big push to make that happen. There's a lot of issues in order to make that happen. There's a lot of federal contracts that people have that enable them to have so much water on their property. So we're going to have to get into all those federal contracts and ensure that we can start billing for every gallon. There's a lot of small irrigation companies. I don't know how they're going to gear up to actually start billing for every gallon that goes through the meter. It's going to be very difficult for those companies as well, in addition to Weber Basin. I mean, you almost need a whole, billing department, like a city does in order to be able to do that. So that's quite a shift for secondary water providers here moving forward. It's great. It needs to happen. I mean, the state definitely wants more of a return on these secondary water meters as far as water saved. And so it needs to happen, but it's a process, right, to gear up and do that. And so it's going to be difficult. But anyway, with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
Petroleum upstream, the merger keep those fat rats roasting properly.
We have equipment up there, that regularly keeps those trash racks free. But as far as like removing material from the watershed, we don't really have anything like that. Typically, that's the county that's responsible for keeping, the waterways, free from debris. So, but yeah, we have a ton of equipment up there to ensure that we keep those trash racks and whatnot free. We have large raking structures that automatic rakes that rake those facilities. We have trash racks that automatically. We have rotating screens that rotate regularly. So it's a big effort to try to keep all that clean. Yes, we do coordinate with the county on a regular basis. Yes, especially in those big years. On a typical year, we don't have those issues, but in 2023, there was tons of coordinations with the cities and the counties. That administer those programs. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.